Hi, my name is Olivia. I'm 14. Were you ever ashamed of your parents? Did they embarrass you at school or make you look stupid in front of your friends? I had to endure a lot of ridicule and mockery. Watch the video to the end and you will learn how sometimes children can be cruel. I never knew my real parents. They left me in an orphanage when I was a baby. I lived in it for 14 years and I can't say that it was a bad time. There were good guys and employees. I was quite comfortable. But still, I always waited to be taken to a family where I would have a mom and dad. But this did not happen for a long time. It was only when I turned 14 that a teacher came up to me and told me that there was a married couple who wanted to take me away. They were good and kind people. I was so happy and immediately agreed to meet with them. But the teacher warned me that I might not immediately get used to them because of their peculiarity. They were dwarves. At that moment, I didn't care about it and I agreed to the meeting. I pictured myself with new parents and was glowing with happiness. When I saw them for the first time on Skype, they were so sweet and were so happy to see me. Have you ever had your dreams come true? Soon the day came when my new parents came for me. I was very excited. You bet! After all, from this day on, a completely new life began. I had no idea what it was like to live in a family, but everything was about to change. I was waiting for them in the hall, surrounded by all my friends. We said goodbye and promised to each other that we would stay in touch. My parents came in, and I saw two very short people. Yes, I knew that there was such a disease, dwarvism, and of course I saw them in photos and met on Skype. I was sure that I was free from prejudice, but suddenly I felt very awkward. I noticed the kids' sideways glances and I could hear them giggling. My parents came up to me and said that they were happy to see me. I was very confused and could not answer. When we went out with them, I turned around and saw that one of the children could not help laughing and the teacher shushed him. We came to my new home. My parents showed me everything, and I really liked it there. It was a very cozy, warm house with a beautiful, simple decor and a pleasant atmosphere. I had my own room, and there was a big lawn around the house, and there was even a little dog. My parents were very friendly to me, but I couldn't look at them without paying attention to their peculiarity. I was afraid they felt it. All these thoughts made my heart very heavy, and when we had dinner, I could not eat a morsel. My parents tried to communicate with me, but I answered in monosyllables, and soon I got up from the table and went to bed. I couldn't bear the tension any longer. The next day after school, I went to the orphanage, to the children, hoping to get support. But when I arrived, I immediately heard giggles and felt angry glances at me. I tried to ignore them and just talk to them. However, they did not go to talk. Instead, they started insulting me and my parents, saying that they were ashamed to communicate with me. I was very surprised and upset. Were these the people I had been friends with for so many years? I burst into tears of resentment and told them that I thought we were friends. But they asked me to leave. I refused, and then one of them came up to me and pushed me in the shoulder. Others joined in and they started shoving me and laughing, and then I ran away from them. I began to curse myself for agreeing to leave with these parents. Despite the fact that I liked them even in our first meeting, I really didn't want to go home. I went straight to my room. My parents tried to talk to me, but I asked them to leave me alone. I just lay there and tried to deal with what happened today. I realized that this situation did not suit me. I was not ready to lose friends to strangers, even if they were technically my parents. I decided to go back to the shelter. My escape was unlikely to succeed, so I had another plan. I began to make sure that my parents themselves returned me there. I started skipping classes at school, and when I came, I failed and was rude to the teachers. Soon, my parents started receiving complaints from the school about my behavior. But they were very patient. Even when I made a mess in the house or even broke something as if by accident, my parents were understanding and calmly asked me to be careful. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get them mad. At one point, I could hear them discussing that I just needed to get used to my new home. That's when I realized my plan wasn't going to work. They were too kind to me. It should have been nice, but it only made me angrier. Moreover, the children from the orphanage who went to school with me had already spread a rumor about my family. And now, even at school, I couldn't walk a step without being mocked. Have you ever been bullied? Then you know how I felt. Then, I had a new plan. Now, of course, I am ashamed of what I did. I remembered that I saw a social program on TV about how employees took children from an unfavorable family. I decided to do the same. I anonymously called the helpline and told them that I saw parents beating and humiliating a child near a supermarket that stood near my house. I specifically spoke in a tearful voice so that they would believe me. They asked me for the address and promised to come and investigate. I didn't think I was doing the right thing, but I was looking forward to going back to the orphanage soon and not being humiliated. Employees of the Child Protection Service arrived the next day. My parents were very surprised to see them. The employees told them that they had received a complaint about child abuse. My parents just threw up their hands and swore that nothing had happened. For a while, the employees looked around the house, asked my parents questions about their lives, and wrote something down in their notebooks. I began to worry that they might see through my lies. What would I get for it? Then they came up to me. They took me to another room and asked me if I had called them on the phone. I was very worried. I forgot everything I said at the time and was talking some nonsense, and they listened carefully and wrote it down. Then, without a word, they went into the living room where my parents were standing. I saw that my mother was crying and I felt uneasy. The employees reported that they were required to conduct a detailed investigation and open a case. If they realized that I was in danger, I might be removed from the family. I didn't expect this. I thought I was just going to be taken away, and I didn't want to ruin my foster parents' lives. The employees told me to pack, but I just froze. On the one hand, my plan worked, but on the other, was it worth it? Seeing my hesitation, the employees said that if I had something to say, it was better to do it now. I looked at my parents and realized I couldn't do this. I burst into tears of shame and confessed that I had lied. I begged not to punish me for making a false complaint, and the employees chuckled and said that more checks would be needed. My parents went outside to see off the uninvited guests. I followed them. They looked at me with surprise and resentment. My father asked me to explain what had happened. As I continued to cry, I told them how I was being bullied by my friends at the orphanage and classmates at school because my parents were dwarves. My father told me that they did not want to be a burden to me and spoil my life. They only wanted to accept me into their family. I could leave at any time. They didn't hold me. But then he said that before I did, I had to ask myself what was more important to me, the opportunity of a loving family or friends who were ready to laugh at me at the first opportunity. Of course, I knew what he meant. Friends who behaved like this were not friends at all, but a family like this. This was what I had dreamed of all my life. How can you deprive yourself of the dreams due to the fact that someone out there laughs at you? I was so ashamed that I had caused so much trouble to my parents. I asked for forgiveness. And I hope they don't hold grudges and I can correct my first impression of myself. It wasn't long before I felt like a part of their family, and now I'm very happy that I still stayed with them. If you like my story, then like it and subscribe to the channel. I hope you have real friends, not those who are ready to turn away from you at any moment.